Opportunity, I've always seemed to be drawn to it. I did 31 years at Carnegie Mellon University, loved it. Started out as a drama professor until the mid-90s when I would travel the country auditioning young people, and I don't even remember what city it was, but I was getting a very strange vibe. And I thought, you know what, let's play a little game. Imagine that it is Friday night. Money is no object. How many of you in the room will, on your own volition, go see live theater? And maybe 30–40% of hands went up. 30–40% of hands of young people who were auditioning to go into Carnegie Mellon drama, the oldest school of drama in the nation, one of the most famous ones, cognitive dissonance. I said, okay. How many of you will go to the cinema? 50–60% of the hands went up. Then I posed the question, how many of you would prefer to order 2 supreme pizzas from Domino's, get a case of beer, and sit at home playing video games? And every hand went up. So I went back to the School of Drama and said, ladies and gentlemen, we either have an incredible threat in front of us or a tremendous opportunity. It's this thing called video games, but it's really more than that. What we're talking about is interactive digital media. We're talking about empowering young people in ways that it's never been done. And I think that we can actually be on the ground floor of getting this done. Well, the reaction was similar to a vampire movie. Back! Back! Break out the garlic! And I thought, you know, the last time we had a technological revolution, it was called television. And we ran away from that. And now one of my jobs is trying to raise money for drama, and the only people I can go to who have any money are TV stars. What's wrong with this picture? And so I did something at the time that was really insane. I resigned as the associate head of drama, walked across the campus to the School of Computer Science, knocked on the door, and said, is there any room in your sandbox for a drama guy? I was scared to death. First of all, I thought they were going to give me a math test. Then the School of Computer Science at Carnegie Mellon is got to be one of the ugliest buildings ever constructed. It's like the Fuhrer bunker, except it is so ugly, the Fuhrer would not be caught dead in this building. I mean, when I walked into that building, I saw young people who had not been outside in so long, their skin had become translucent. So imagine my surprise when the dean says to me, Don, we would be honored to have you join us in computer science. You bring a mindset, a skill set, a point of view, a perspective that we don't have here. You can help us guide where all of this is going. And besides, we might finally have good parties. Then the kicker, I said, by the way, can I have a $25,000 raise? And they were like, 25, no problem. I was like, my ass is there. And it was a few years later that Randy Pausch and I were teamed up. You know, it's become a legend, but there's really truth behind the legend. It was a shotgun wedding. I mean, because I was an alpha male from drama, and Randy was as close as an alpha male geek as you were going to get. In fact, the first time I met him, I got very intimidated. He looked like a beach boy. I mean, and I looked like Lou Costello's son. And we sat down and was like, how are we going to make this work? I mean, people were taking bets which one of us would be found floating face down in the Ohio River first. And instead, we looked at each other and said, you know what? The only way we're going to make this work is to profess our ignorance and to have each other teach. And I said to him, Randy, I'm going to be very honest with you. I've been in computer science now for 2 years, and I still don't know what you do. I said, I know it involves zeros and ones, but I still don't get it. And he said, Don, I gotta be very honest with you, I don't know what you drama people do, except it involves a lot of hugging and kissing. So if you promise not to hug and kiss me, we can get along. And that's exactly what happened. That was probably one of the most freeing moments in my life. Because I can tell you that I'm at peace in the world right now for all of my academics, because I'm usually the dumbest guy in the room. There is no way I can keep up with what is going on in the world of technology. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about now. But for all of that, I really want to talk about something else. What I really want to talk about are ships. No, not those kinds of ships, but rather what I want to talk about are relationships, craftsmanship, and partnership. First, let's get to some nitty-gritty facts that some of us don't want to hear. The generations. They are accelerating at a pace never before seen. Everything you've learned in sociology, you can throw out the window. Everything you read in the Bible about a generation being 20 years, nope. This is what we're looking at. I am a baby boomer. Are there other boomers in the room? Okay, boomers, this was a sad year for us. This is the year that millennials became a larger demographic than we are. Sure. You know why? We're dying! They're applauding! Get rid of these old farts, yeah. It's our time. Your time will come. But we do ourselves a disservice if we talk about millennials. Because what we're really talking about now are those generations that have been influenced by media, by digital media. That cell phone is an extension of their being. When we talk about technology, we might as well talk about it in ontological terms, what it means to be human. I mean, what really fascinates me are your students, because your students are not millennials. Most of your students are not even digital natives. Your students are the plurals. And the plurals excite me. The plurals give me hope. And this shouldn't surprise you, because the same dynamic applies to your technology. If your phone is older than 2 years, you're embarrassed. You've all seen the commercial about the mugger in the parking garage. Give me your wallet. I don't have a wallet. Take my phone. I can't be seen with a phone like that. People will make fun of this. Is a flip phone. So why should it surprise us at the rapid change of generations? And why do I like the plurals? Because if you really take a look at your phone, if you really take a look at the fact that the phone is not an end in itself, but technology is a procedural medium, it is the process by which they are able to engage in different worlds, and different mindsets, and different beings, then you realize that they are whole brain thinkers. The phone is our friend. As someone from the arts, I view the phone as a medium by which art can be made palpable to all of them. You know these kids. You see them. When you give them the tools, they're not simply doing mathematical formulas. They're finding ways in which this technology can be used for their own good and for the common good. What have you all discovered when you put 3D printers in your elementary schools? You've got children who are making devices to help other children. It actually makes you believe that there is innately goodness in the human soul. And our job, in fact, is to facilitate that and allow this to occur across the board. How do you become a teacher? The model is there, folks. You're Yoda. One of the last battles I had at CMU before I retired was when the provost called me and said, Don, do your faculty have titles? And I knew where this was going. And I went, oh yeah, they have titles. And he said, you mean like an assistant professor or like an associate teaching professor? I said, no, better than that. I've got Jedis. I've got like Yoda, level 1, Yoda, level 2. I got a few Magi. I said, I don't want that other stuff. I've been there. You've never seen a group of liberals turn into the most conservative human beings than when you're on a 10-year promotion committee. It's like neo-Nazi thing. It's like, I'm a good person. Kill him! I'm like, I don't want that. But it's being forced down everyone's throat. Forget about it. If you gotta play the game, play the game. But think of Yoda. I mean, Star Wars is coming out in December. It's going to break Avatar's record. And it ain't just baby boomers going. They know this world. They want to live in this world. And guess what? Since you're not as smart as they are, the only thing you can rely on is wisdom. You've got to start trolling your brain and life experiences for wisdom. Because they're smarter than you are. Why? Because they are Jedis. It's not just humor, it's reality. That is, and you know what? Most of them are your kids. You should feel really good about this. That's how bright they are. I'm from the generation where it was a given that I was supposed to have a better life, a more expansive mindset, worldview than my parents and grandparents. And since the economics are not looking that way for our kids, the least we can do is help them develop a mind that is as whole and hopefully wholesome as possible. Okay, now I want to talk about craftsmanship. This is a word you don't hear much anymore. And in fact, when I was a drama professor, I would give the incoming drama students a spelling test. That's the first thing we would do. And it was a very simple spelling test. It had one word. Please spell the word playwright for me. Oh, well, that's easy. That's a P-L-A-Y-R-I-G-H-T. Wrong. Well, how is that wrong? Playwright. I said, you forgot the W. 99 out of 100 kids will go, what W? Because they don't know what a right is. How often today do you hear about a shipwright? One who can build a ship out of wood with his or her bare hands. How many of them even know what a wheelwright is? And the only people nowadays who know what a cartwright is are baby boomers who grew up on Bonanza. So why is the word playwright? Because putting together a play is not 90% inspiration and 10% perspiration. It's the other way around. When the Themed Entertainment Association got together and came up with a list of what is the education that anyone who wants to work at Disney, Universal, or I extrapolate anything creative wants to know, they said there's 4 things. It's called SAFE. They must understand storytelling, because all of our lives are a story. I mean, when I'm finally in the box, I don't want you to come up and read my resume. I want you to come up and tell a story about how maybe I've helped you, or what impact I've had on your life. The A in SAFE was architecture. You know what they mean by architecture? Structure. That's what makes this a playwright. There is structure to telling a story. There are foundational elements, there are skill sets, there are temporal perceptions, goals, and procedures about writing a play. A 1-hour TV show is 4 12-minute acts. 99% of Western drama is built on climactic plot structure. Why? Because it resembles real life. This notion of structure is all over the place. The essence of drama is conflict. Conflict is a problem the story is about. Basically, it's 2 opposing forces that come into direct contact with each other. In other words, telling a story is Newtonian. It's physics. If we were to talk about digital media, it's biological. You build a skeleton, you end up putting musculature, you skin it, you texture it. Why are we using that as means to teach physics, as means to teach biology. It is there, they know this. And when we say story, we do it a disservice if we just say story. Because story is really a compression and manipulation of lives for what purpose? For the purpose of discerning meaning and wisdom. Likewise, a story is a cause and effect understanding. It is about values, cultures, myths. It is problem solving. It is probabilistic and teleological reasoning. Tell you a wonderful story. Randy invited me to a DARPA conference down in Orlando. You know what DARPA is? The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. For 3 days, I didn't understand a single word that was being said. I was having an existential crisis. The third day, the Admiral's up here, and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a very special guest with us the last 3 days. He's a drama professor." I got so excited. I started looking around the room, thinking, I'm not the only fool here. Then I hear, he was the associate head of drama at Carnegie Mellon. I'm like, son of a gun, it's me! When Professor Marinelli come down, I come down. The Admiral says, "Don, you're the only drama professor we know who's in the School of Computer Science. We want to know what impact this has had on you." I thought for a millisecond and I said, "I feel right at home." The murmur in the crowd was unbelievable. You heard things like, "This poor man must have lost his mind. I mean, it's a shame. He was once creative and now he's..." And I went, wait a minute. I just had an epiphany. The epiphany is, I know more about what you do than you know about what I do. I said, you really think that we drama people get up in the morning, we put on our toga, we go walking in the woods going, "Oh, muses, strike me with inspiration." I said, we don't do that. I said, the fact of the matter is we do exactly what you do. Let me explain. I said, I'm directing a play. I tell the actor, I want you to come in from up left. Up left is a very weak stage position. I then want you to cross center stage, a stronger stage position. When you get center stage, I want you to look at that point above the audience. I want your eyes to get real big. I want your hands to come together. I want you to cross down right very quickly to the strongest stage position, and I want you to say those lines. And if you do all of those things as we rehearse, and if the audience is who I believe it is, then they will believe the butler did it. My God, that's like an if-then equation. What's the difference? You're writing your if-then equations with math. I'm not writing an algorithm. I'm attempting to create a heuristic, something that is true most of the time. But I'm dealing with human psychology. But ultimately, we're trying to do the exact same thing. Video games are your friend. Relax. When you think about it, they are visual, oral, emotional, and intellectual experiences. I've been spending a lot of time lately consulting with companies all over the country, letting them know that they are behind the curve. That interactive digital media in the form of games and everything else is taking hold because it addresses the desires of the people, the young people. It is the ultimate democratization. Why do you think theater people were so concerned about video games? Because this is about the democratization of acting. When I was growing up, it was We Merry Band of Players. This was our virtual world. The proscenium arch was our portal into this world, and now anyone can play. So the one term that keeps coming to my mind is craft. How, in fact, can we take the work that they are doing digitally, the work that they are doing in terms of 3D, and move it to a next level is through craftsmanship, taking it to a level that is truly whole brain. Let them become craftspeople who understand the technology and the purpose thereof. Okay, let's talk about partnership. I'm a big believer in partnership for one big reason. When I started out in the theater, we were basically told we were beggars. And I got this thing about begging. And by begging, I mean begging from patrons, begging from the audience, begging from foundations, begging from the government. My family in Brooklyn, Italians, we never begged. I've always believed, go out there and do it. Bootstrap. And I will tell you right now, I don't think there is any greater waste of resources in this country than the waste that you will find among colleges and universities, because damn it, they should be partnering with all the other not-for-profits in this country. Every one of those not-for-profits is in need. And one of the things that Randy and I were committed to in the ETC was to do real-world projects for real-world concerns. That's why you see Give Kids the World, the greatest place on the planet Earth as far as I'm concerned, in Kissimmee, Florida, leading Make-A-Wish destination. Started by a concentration camp survivor who swore to God that if he could get out of the concentration camp as a young person surrounded by death, he would create a place where children who were dying could be surrounded by love. And you know what? It was the ETC students who said, Don, we should be doing projects for them. So doing projects for them ongoing? Absolutely. We've done projects for the New York City Fire Department, projects for the Carnegie Science Center. We had the students from Elizabeth Forward putting together kinetic poetry for the symphony's Mozart concerts. We even brought the dead people back to life using synthetic interview for Philadelphia. That's a story I gotta tell you. I was at computer science for maybe a year. All of a sudden there's a meeting. I go with one of my colleagues, and there's Raj Reddy, the dean. We sit down, and he goes, you know, I'm going to do the Association for Computing Machinery. And I want to do something that has never been done before. So I'm wondering, can you guys bring someone back from the dead? My colleague goes, bring someone back from the dead? You know, that's how geeks speak. You know, you can tell a geek because he looks at his shoes when he's talking. And a gregarious geek looks at your shoes when he's talking. So my colleague goes, oh yeah, we should be able to do that. Then Raj goes, can you do this in like maybe 3 months? Oh, 3 months? You know, there should be enough time. Should be enough time. Can you do this for, oh, I don't know, $50,000? Oh, $50,000, that should be fine. Meeting's over. Meeting's over. We're walking down the hall. I say to him, wait a minute. What just happened? He said, Raj asked us to bring someone back from the dead. I said, I got that. I got that part. I got that. I know you guys are really smart, but are you able to do that? And he goes, no, we're gonna fake it. And I went, well, that's theater. I'm in the right place. Fast forward 3 months. You're gonna love this. Fast forward 3 months. We're gonna use a technology called Sphinx, speech recognition system. They're like, this is a great technology. The only problem with this technology is it gets the wrong answer like every 3rd time. I said, oh, okay. So there's a 33% chance that what we ask is gonna have the wrong answer. Yes. I said, well then who can we talk to where every 3rd answer is wrong, but it still makes sense? A genius! And I happen to know an old actor friend of mine who had a one-man show on Albert Einstein. So I called him up, I said, Jerry, come over to Pittsburgh. We're gonna do a synthetic interview with Albert Einstein. He goes, what's that? I said, it's a job! That's food! You don't know what you do, just come, it's food, you're gonna eat! So he comes from New York, we shoot him for a week. There we are in San Jose, the Association for Computing Machinery. These are the top geeks in the world. So the synthetic interview works like a Jeopardy, like the Jeopardy game. It's got hundreds, if not thousands, of answers in the database waiting for you to say the right question. So we're using speech recognition, which, by the way, works really well if you're a traditional English gentleman. If you're anything but that, you're rolling the dice. Doors open. Who comes first? A female physicist. If you thought Sphinx was bad with anything other than an English gentleman, try a female voice. So I'm sitting off to the side. She comes up to the microphone. She says, Professor Einstein, can you please tell me the meaning of life? Well, I start chuckling because Einstein wrote a lot about that. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like 6 different answers that can come up. This is going to be amazing. Segue, video comes up, and I immediately know this is not one of the right answers. So, scene. Professor Einstein, can you please tell me the meaning of life? When I was young, I learned that the big toe always made a hole in the sock. So I stopped wearing socks. Now at that point, I'm off to the side thinking, I'm going to go back to theater. And then I hear this. Yes! Yes, thank you, Dr. Einstein. I get it. Life is like a big sock. It comes over you, and it confines you. And you need to be like the big toe, carving your way out of the confines of the sock. Yes, thank you, thank you. I thought, son of a bitch. It really is theater. Take a look at this picture. Yeah. This is the hope of the future. These are my colleagues here at EF. You go there, you've gone there, or you're going to go there, you're seeing what sort of partnership can exist between the teacher, the administration, and the young people. And it's all about belief, and it's about trust. And so I did want to talk about ships here. I wanted to talk about the necessary relationship that art and science have in the form of technology. I wanted to talk about craftsmanship as the next level in which we can prod and urge our students to hone their craft. And then partnership. It's out there waiting for you. We are deluged with organizations that are in need. Any place you are in, there's going to be a science center, a museum, a children's center that could use your help and would give a sense of purpose and meaning to your students. And so, I continue my journey. I love what I do. I've got my own company. I do consulting. I wisely went into electronic medical records because baby boomers are getting older. And I love what I do. And I know you love what you do or you wouldn't be here. You have a tremendous responsibility, but the fact that you're here and the fact that you're seeing what you're seeing means you get it. And so have another one on me and go back and make magic happen. Thank you.